Looking back at my A2 media coursework, I believe I have successfully met the forms conventions which are present with current music videos and digipack and magazine adverts for the genre of pop music. My music video is a genre of pop. I chose this genre because I felt like I could be able to create a music video which relates to the target audience, and by using my performer in situations and costumes and settings the audience are familiar with, I thought this would let them look up to the artist as if she was a role model. I also chose the genre of pop because singers like Pixie Lott, Ellie Goulding and Jessie J inspired me to create a music video like they have performed in the past. Throughout the planning and researching of music videos, I ensured I was aware of the forms and conventions of real media products. I researched into Andrew Goodwin's theory and thought about the ways in which I could incorporate these into my own music video. Theory states many factors that make up a music video. 3 of these, which I felt related to my own music video, were a relationship between visuals, either illustrating, amplifying or contradicting lyrics, likeliness of voyeurism, and a demand of close-ups of the main performer. These factors can be shown through my music video as there is a relationship between the lyrics of the song and the visuals you can see in the clips. The song tells a story and I think the clips can be shown to illustrate this. Voyeurism is also typical in pop videos, where a performer is dressed in clothes that are fashionable and can be seen to attract the opposite sex. This theory of the male gaze was by Laura Mulvey. The clips in my video often focus on the performer's facial features like her mouth and her eyes. I think this is typical of the male gaze, as these features of women can be seen to attract the opposite sex. I have also used many close-up shots of the performer to focus on her and grab the audience's attention. I have used mid-shots to highlight her body movement and costume, and also tracking to enable the audience to watch and relate to the performer. These shots can be explained using Andrew Goodwin's theory, as close-ups show my performer is in focus and she is the only person featured in the video. It's obvious to the audience she is the most important figure. I chose my performer as I believe she fits into the look of a pop artist and would represent the genre well. I did this by choosing clothing, makeup and styling which was stereotypical of the pop artist genre. She also performs the song well, and I think the target audience will be able to identify with her and believe she is in fact singing the song. The mise-en-scene of music videos puts importance on the representation of something. Every pop used in the video can be seen as symbolic, and it often creates a theme for the video, giving the song an extra meaning. My video consists of many different locations. All the shots are at night time, as the song is about a girl going out for one night and having fun without any stress, so the lights in the background create a relaxed and romantic feel. In the video there are also shots where the girl ignores her phone ringing while lying on her bed. This symbolising her moving on from the past, and it enables the audience to watch her as a normal teenage girl, as the target audience can relate. Editing is also a typical convention when looking at music videos. I have used many dissolving transitions from shot to shot. This created a flow and each clip fades into the next, which makes it more interesting to watch. As the song tempo gets faster, I also challenge my editing skills by spinning up the cuts or clips. This builds tension in the song and the video. When constructing my ancillary tasks, which were a digipack and magazine advert, I believe they fell into the typical genre of pop. I think the layout of my work is conventional of pop projects and the colours are also quite feminine. I have used simple yet bold fonts on each design, which are typical of pop genre to have pretty fonts like the one I chose. I also used images of my performer as the main feature on both designs, which I think is typical of pop style artwork. This can be related to the theorist by Marjorie Ferguson, who has identified 4 main types of facial expressions for British women's magazines. My pictures would fit into the invitational type, as I have created emphasis on eyes, her mouth, and which is shut, and slightly parted with a smile, and her head is to one side. To create the effect, I edited the images so that my performer's facial features like her eyes and mouth stood out. I think this makes up the image more invitational, and this is important as it will encourage audiences to buy my products. For my A2 coursework, I created a print package of a music video, CD pack which included a front, back and middle, and a magazine advert. I think it's very important that each of these products has a consistent theme and home style, where they all look like they've come from the same package and the audience can relate to them as a whole. The purpose of a music video is to represent the artist's latest song and to target the audience, keeping them interested by using a narrative and showing the artist performing the music and the song. Music videos are produced to entertain the target audience and fans, and to represent the artist through the latest technology shown on music channels such as MTV and online like sites of YouTube. The purpose of a magazine advertisement is to promote the CD and album that is due to be released. The magazine advert will usually show the artist on the front and usually has a picture of the CD. My advert does, and with a small picture of the album on the side, the audiences can automatically relate to the CD. It also features the release dates, special songs, and ratings from popular magazines and industries. This is one way to promote the CD further and make it look as advertising as possible. The purpose of the CD cover is to represent the artist and appear attractive to the target audience to purchase. I have used a close-up of the performer's face. This will allow my target audience to identify with the cover as soon as they see it. I have kept the text simple, which is the same as the front design on my magazine advert and back covers, a simple script font which features the name Jordan. I have also included a plug line at the side which will interest the audience more, including exclusive bonus tracks, and it will also be sold in the shop, which would catch their eye. The colours I have used throughout my productions have been dark, blacks, purples and reds. I think this is important to keep a consistent colour theme, as otherwise it would look odd together and the audience may feel like it didn't fit. I also think these colours are typical of pop genre music productions. I also made sure the colours I used on my printworks were also similar to those in my music video. By ensuring this, I took photos from the first location shoot I did, so they all fit together. I have also used the same fonts on each of my designs. I made sure the name Jordan was in the same font type, as this needs to be consistent to look professional. I created this font on Photoshop. I made sure each production had the same background, to which it was a picture of the fairy lights I had used on my location shoot. And I duplicated this image so it was the same background for each production and changed the colour of it so it was either black and white or more of a blue filter colour. I used the internet to find these fonts. I used websites like refont.com as I thought it would be more interesting than a typical font. I believe I have created a brand identity which placing my products together on screen, and they all look similar and have the same pictures from each in some places. You can also see from other productions I have made, they also fit into real life objects such as tube stations, buses and billboards. My music video is aimed at young people within the age group of 15 to 25. This is because the artist is a young girl and my performer is also young, so the audiences can relate to both the song and performer. It is mainly aimed at girls, but boys may also watch it due to the voyeurism, where boys will watch the video due to scenes of my performer in certain clothes and shots. I believe that feedback is a critical and important stage in the process of making my music video and print work. It enables me to improve my work and make the best out of the criticism I get. The opinion of others is extremely important, especially when it comes to print work, as this is advertising the artist, and if the audiences aren't willing to pay money and aren't convinced the CD won't sell. Feedback could also be very important in the real world music industry. The audience's opinion is one of the most important factors in keeping the industry going, and is increasingly becoming the most important factor in keeping industries alive. When planning my music video, I made sure I carried out primary research to see what my target audience expected and wanted from a music video. I created a polling system on my blog where I got people from the age group to vote where they most agreed with. Questions like, do you expect to see a narrative in the music video? And questions about my print work asking, do you expect to see the artist's face in the front of the CD? Which helped me a lot. I also found that most of my target audience would watch music videos on either YouTube or channels like MTV, so this is where I aim to show my work. I gained audience feedback in many ways. I used a polling vote to gain feedback for my music video and print work. I also got people in my class to record their feedback after watching my music video. I created a Facebook page for my music video, where friends would give their opinions and feedback, which was really helpful when improving my work. I also got my target audience to comment on my print work. This was helpful as I could see it next to my own work and make significant improvements. The feedback I got was from people who were aged at my target audience. It was quite useful that my friends fit into this group, as I could ask them to review my work, and I also got feedback from younger students, so I wanted to get variety from people I didn't know. I also got really good feedback from my teachers, which helped me to improve my work very well. I held a test screening of my music video at a rough stage. This was really helpful, as I could tell them about the improvements I needed to make, but they could also watch it and say what they thought about it.
I really like Laura's video. She used like a range of shots, and like she's shown a technical ability of the fades and the different split screens. And I think if she just fixes a bit of the lip syncing, it could be really, really good. But I liked it.
I really like Laura's video because I think the mise-en-scène really fits the idea of the song and the generic conventions of the sort of music video that she's doing, like the lighting and the clothing and things, so it's really professional.
I really like Laura's video because I think that she's obviously thought about the places that she's filmed it, and she's filmed it at night, but she's thought about the lighting, and the lighting really fits the video, especially like in the bedroom where it's not too dark but you can tell the time of day even with the lights on. I think that's really good.
I was then able to make changes to my video. I made sure the lip syncing was in time with the song, and some people said the editing was too fast, so I slowed some shots down on After Effects. I went back onto Adobe Premiere and added in more video transitions, as people had said the cuts in my video were too sharp and fast. I added a dissolving fade, in which I think made my music video look really effective. I also added more effects in After Effects. The feedback I received said the backgrounds were a little dull, so by adding a few transitions into the backgrounds like flourishes and extensions, it would enable each clip to be a bit more interesting and enjoyable to watch. I think I targeted my audience successfully. My targeted audience would be grabbed in by the different locations. My shots are constantly changing so it doesn't appear dull. The lighting is at night time, and the fairy lights give a certain theme and girly pop style to it. I also think the performers' makeup and costumes would appeal to the audiences. When planning and researching, I was able to make full use of the equipment and programs I had access to. I was able to watch music videos on YouTube and the TV to find inspiration, and the programs I used varied from the internet to professional software such as Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects. When creating my music video, I used a high quality camera, which was the Nikon 550D. This was a great camera to use as it had the deep focus where I could capture the performer clear whilst the background was blur. For example, it enabled the lights in the background to be blurry whilst my model was in clear focus all the time. I also used a Sony HD camcorder when shooting my green screen. This enabled me to shoot different shots in different times. As well as using a high quality camera, I also had the use of lighting equipment, which I used for all of my shootings. I had two spotlights, which were very useful when shooting at night time. They gave a huge source of light and also made the shots look more professional. I also used fairy lights to hang up across the backdrop in one of my green screen shootings. This enabled to give off a certain theme and also make really interesting backgrounds for my shoots and pictures. The software I used to edit my clips together was Adobe Premiere Pro. I had already used this in my AS work, although I had to gain new skills in order to create a high quality standard production for my A2 work. I used tutorials to gain as much as I could, and this was really useful. Adobe Premiere enabled me to place and cut different clips together until I was happy with the sequence. I then had to lip sync the clips with the music, which took a lot more time than I expected. There were tools such as different layers where I could place together and cut where I wanted. This took me quite a long time to figure out which clips to use and edit at the right time. I also used Adobe Premiere Pro in the planning of my A2 coursework. I used it to create my animatic, which showed the initial drawings being played along and was very useful in my drafting. I then moved on to Adobe After Effects, where I removed the green screen and replaced it with colour solids, with moving extensions of flourishes and lines behind it. I also used multicam on After Effects and put a filter onto the footage to create a more realistic and edgy tone. The use of After Effects also enabled me to play back my edited footage and see if there are any mistakes or errors I needed to fix. I also used Adobe Photoshop to create my print work. I had previously used this during my AS, so I was quite familiar with it. This enabled me to use more easily and to create my Digipack and magazine advert. I used different layers on each production, but I also duplicated the same things, so they all had a similar house style. The fact I had used these programs enabled me to gain new skills and act on my feedback, making the best possible productions I could.